So how important are these sites?
Well, the beaches site that we're talking about a lot is one of the classics of Newfoundland and Labrador archaeology, prehistory if you would. One of the Beothic's ancestral periods is named after the Beaches. The Beaches Indians are the Beothic's earliest direct ancestors in Newfoundland. Tools about 1,000 years old were first found at the Beaches site in the early 70s. And since then they occur all over Newfoundland, but whenever we find this particular shape of stone tool, it's always a Beaches point, named after the Beaches site. So it's significant for that. In addition to that, for years the Beaches was Newfoundland's oldest archaeological site, the island of Newfoundland, not Labrador. It's much older sites in Labrador. But for years the maritime archaic component of the Beaches, which is dated to 5,000 years ago, was the oldest spot. Just recently now, well, within the last 10 years or so, Memorial's work on the west coast has identified some older maritime archaic sites on the west coast of Newfoundland. But the Beaches is still a very important spot used by Aboriginal people from 5,000 until 250 years ago. Maritime archaic, Paleo-Eskimo, and the recent Indian, which are the Beothik and their ancestors. Something inherently valuable about or attractive about the Beaches, you know. And a lot of good work, a lot of good archaeology has come out of there, and of course now we're concerned because it's washing away. So it's, I guess in a sense that raises its importance because it's endangered like other resources are.
Right. And when you say washing away, how fast is that?
Well, I've been working at the Beaches every year since 1989, and I've like charted the erosion of the bank there a good 3 meters since then. You know, so that's 10 feet over 23 summers or so. You know, that's a lot actually, because really what's left there. At the most, there's 7 Beothik houses left there on the widest parameter, and those are probably let's see, those are probably 30 meters, right? So within 20 years, most of those houses could be lost as well to erosion. And in addition to that, there to the west of those Beothik houses, there's Beaches Indian and Dorset Paleo-Eskimo items, which are older than the Beothik. And those are in a smaller area, even closer to the water, so those are going to be lost as well as the Beothik houses are lost, right? So 20-25 years we're looking at the Beaches if we don't take some measures there, you know.
So what needs to be done to stop losing this part of our history?
Well, I guess really we have two choices with the Beaches, okay? Given it's an eroding spot, we can, one practical measure to be taken there is you could just dig the whole thing up. Start at the eroding bank, the most endangered area, and start archaeologically excavating that, proceeding northwards over X number of years, so you've literally dug up the whole site. Map it carefully. We'll know where everything occurred. We'll know then, at least then we'll know the cultural record of the site, the remnant of the site, before it washes away. We'll have that. We'll have the artifacts. We'll have thousands and thousands and thousands of artifacts, and lots of information about the Beothik, their ancestors, and Paleo-Eskimos. So we'll have all of that on file, and we can excavate that. There's no trouble to spend 10 or 15 years doing that. It might even take more to do that. That's one alternative. Another alternative is to build a protective barrier along the southern barrier of the site and stop the erosion. Right? We've been attempting to do that. It's had some mixed success. You know, probably a third option is a combination of the two. Have a salvage excavation in conjunction with retaining wall construction.
Right.
Those are 3 real options there for the site.
So how much money would it cost to salvage the site?
We've been doing it with on a fairly modest budget, really. To be honest, really. I guess the biggest years we've had, our budget is probably $150,000, and 90% of that is wages, really. Because I mean, we've had traditionally over the 23 or so summers we've operated, the majority of our staff has been hired through JCP programs. They used to be federal, now they're provincial, and a number of years in the 1990s we had 12 or 14 people working with us, you know. And like I say, so then that gives you a lot of manpower to split between your interpretation center, your excavations, and your constructions and whatever. So in those years, even then, like the budget was only $150,000. we never had the option of large-scale engineering project and whatever tackling, in a very constructive, up-to-date manner, coastal erosion and whatever. I did consult engineers, and basically the consensus was good luck. Coastal erosion is a very serious problem, so good luck, right? So we opted to keep it simple, if you would, and did excavations and build retaining walls. And so basically, even now, and the number of years, so between 100 and 150,000. So we were lucky enough to get if I could get a JCP again this summer, that would put us in decent shape for combating the erosion at the beaches, along with other aspects of the Burnside Heritage Foundation as well, that we needed.
So if this is lost, what do you think the province loses if the site is lost?
Well, what they lose is you're losing this very important archaeological site, right? A beautiful spot. You're losing the heritage, pure heritage value. Not even talking about tourism and the tours and this kind. That's another aspect altogether. The inherent, just the natural setting and this thing. But just the importance of the site in the human history of the island, really. To the beaches, the maritime archaic, the Paleo-Eskimo, and the Beothuk and their ancestors. If we knew exactly what we're losing, we wouldn't be worried about it because we'd already know, right? But so Lord knows what kind of surprises are underground. You don't know. Like one important aspect of the beaches that I would like to pursue in my time as an archaeologist, if I ever get the chance, would be to there's one of the areas just west of the house pits, the Beothuk house pits. There we have an area that's Area B, we call it, and that contains Dorset, Paleo-Eskimo, and Beaches Indian artifacts. Okay, so that's the period. The Dorset period ends about 1,200 years ago. The Beaches Indians come into the picture sometime before or after 1,200 years ago, right? So right there at the Beaches site, which is the namesake of the Beaches Indians, we have the opportunity to examine the transition from Paleo-Eskimo to Beaches, right? That's a great area for research, for someone to dig up, right? If we don't save it, if we don't protect it or excavate it, well, we're not going to get a chance to pursue that purely research question. And of course, the beaches, while we're doing that at the beaches, in July and August, it's a great spot for recreational boats, for boat tours, sailboats, the whole thing, pull in there.
So what kind of artifacts have you found there?
So most of what we have are stone artifacts, but we also have a number of objects made of European materials, because of course one of the defining characteristics of the Beothuk are their access and use of European items, So they would recycle nails and other iron things into arrowheads and stuff like that. Because we've excavated really narrow little strips along the bank, no more than 1 meter wide, and often as narrow as 20, 30 centimeters. And like I say, so we have 23,000 items from there since 2002, and that's not digging every year, right? So there's lots to find there. We know there's a couple of fireplaces along the eroding bank that we've dug. And I know that there's a Beothuk house pit now it's eroding by now, I'm sure, because I've been monitoring this house for the last 2 years or so, and we really haven't had a chance to get at it, to dig it. And so by this year, by 2013, I would think this is in imminent danger by now. Right? So those are the immediate things we'd like to get at the beaches.